Some of those key battleground areas in this election. Labor has 26 marginal seats across the country. That's defined as those held with less than 6% margins. 7 of those are in Queensland, but it is the 10 in New South Wales that are looking especially vulnerable. Now, the coalition, on the other hand, has 27 marginal seats nationwide. It could be most vulnerable in those Queensland seats. Well, let's take you straight now to possibly the area where this is going to be won and lost, to the seats of Western Sydney. One of those is held by Labor's Ed Husic, the seat of Chifley. Thanks very much for joining us right now, Ed. How do you rate Labor's chances in this election?
Well, it's going to be a tough battle, that's for sure, and it's going to be played out over the next 8 months, and we've got a lot of work ahead of us. But really what you've got now is the ability to get the policies of both sides on the table, and rather than just having 3-word slogans, or in the case of the Liberals now, they've cut it down to 2 words, real solutions. Well, let's see what real means in their minds, other than just simple notions of cutting red tape and creating jobs. Let's see the detail, and let's see how that actually plays out.
Well, once again, we saw today the Prime Minister holding information very tight to her, just as she did with the Nova Paris announcement earlier on this month. How does it play to caucus members like yourself that you're finding out about this kind of news behind Tony Windsor, behind Rob Oakeshott, most embarrassingly, behind even the Greens?
I think you can throw the usual campaign manual out the window, Hugh. This is going to be a different election campaign altogether, and really, you know, the old way of working won't be the way that we face things into the future. And talking of the future for us, I mean, Western Sydney, an area of 1.6 million people and growing, it's about who can deliver services, who can put the infrastructure in place, and who can help people in need. And for us, we've got track records in terms of health, in terms of education, but the other side of politics really needs to detail where they're saying on the one hand that they'll cut $70 billion of spending. To be able to credibly say you're going to do that but deliver services and infrastructure just ain't believable, and they've really got to provide the detail. And the other big things in Western Sydney, I mean, for example, we've got a situation where they're shifting radioactive waste out of Hunters Hill over into Sydney's West, and that'll affect the seats of McMahon and Lindsay. And on top of that, we have a senior frontbencher in Joe Hockey saying that Western Sydney will get an airport at Badgerys Creek no matter what. These will be big issues in Western Sydney. So,
Ed, on the timetable the Prime Minister has given, the last parliamentary sitting date before the issuing of the writs is June the 27th. If the polls are solidly negative for Labor, and have been for some time, by the end of June, will there be cause to turn once again to Kevin Rudd?
Everyone will put all sorts of notions forward and will speculate about things between now and the rest of the 8 months. Basically, for us, the focus has to be in being able to have a series of policies that we've announced, be it, you know, rolling out the NBN and making sure that it stays, getting the NDIS in place, seeing school reforms, the type of things that we need to see happen, or what the Libs are going to do. Are they going to stay quiet and do what they've done in New South Wales, which is cut $3 billion out of education, cut health funding, and not even be able to provide simple infrastructure, like in my neck of the woods, railway lifts as well at train stations? They're not able to be upfront about things. They've got to really show now what they're going to do.
Ed Husic, you've got 8 months to make your case. Thank you for joining us on the program this evening.
Good on you.
Well, Tony.